This week on the World Triathlon podcast, I'm delighted to welcome Taylor Knibb. Taylor was a USA Junior National Champion in 2015 and Junior World Champion a year later. And in 2017, she became the youngest athlete to podium in the World Series, taking silver at WTS Edmonton, as well as another Junior World title that year. In 2018, it was time to add under 23 world champion to the list of achievements, and earlier this month she was confirmed on the US national team to compete at the highest level in 2021. So Taylor, welcome.
Thank you for having me.
That felt like a longer than usual intro, quite a lot to get through in actually only about 4 years there.
Yes, but it still feels like a while ago.
Yeah, well, I'm sure. I mean, everything feels like a while ago after the last 12 months, right? So yes, just let us know where you are at the moment.
I just moved out to Boulder and I'm now training with Ian O'Brien's training group, which has some international athletes and a fair amount of other American athletes. And I'm very much enjoying it. It's different from, I had been in school. I graduated last May 2020. And so previous to that, I was in school and it was just a very different environment. So I'm really enjoying the change and training's going well.
Yeah, nice to just forget the studies and concentrate solely on triathlon, I'd imagine.
Yes, it is a transition though, and Ian may or may not have last week brought up, he's like, have you considered going back to school? Do you want to take more classes? So
why
I
are
think
you
it's
sort of
having something else, but I'm also learning how to manage not having as much.
Right, is that because you're asking too many questions and things? Are you?
I don't think so, but we'll see.
Well, what's he getting at there? What are you needing to? What part are you at the end of training? Are you still kind of staying out trying to get some extra miles in then and stuff like that, or?
Oh, not at all. I think just having another area to like put my energy into.
I see. So there's some surplus energy kicking around. That's a polite way of saying.
Yes, I guess so.
All right. So, but previously, where were you at school? Where were you at college?
I went to university, I guess, for most of the listeners at Cornell University, which is in Ithaca, New York.
Right.
It's about a 4-hour drive from the city. So people think New York, they think New York City sometimes. This is upstate New York.
Okay.
So very different, more rural, and it was a great experience.
What were you studying?
I was a psychology major, but I was in the School of Arts and Sciences, so that was only really a third of my credits. And then you have to take it's a liberal arts education. So a little bit of everything, but not really anything super concrete.
Right. And your sort of triathlon training through that then was all university facilities and so on, was it? Or how did that fit in?
Yes, I mean, freshman year I was biking in my dorm room, so I guess that's university facilities, but I had a triathlon coach all the way through college and then like separate, but then I was on the run team for all 4 years and then I joined the swim team for my last 2 and I got to compete my final year. So it was a mix of everything, and each season, each semester looked very different from the previous one. Like in the fall, I could get away with a lot less training and kind of just maintain off of the aerobic base from the summer. But in the spring, I had to ramp stuff up. So it was different. My coach, I guess, experimented a lot, and we kind of figured out what worked. We learned a lot what didn't work, which is helpful.
Did you bring a long list with you to Ian then and say, look, I'm not doing any of this. I've tried all of this and it's not worked.
No, because I think I'm a different athlete now. I'm a different person now. And I don't want to go to a coach and say like, okay, this is what we're not doing.
Right, true.
I prefer to have a conversation. And if he were to say something that didn't work, I'd ask him, okay, why are we doing this? And if he has a legitimate reason, like I respect that. And I'm willing to give it a go. I think that's like what I learned with the training. Some of the things really like, I was a little bit against some of the things we were doing, and those ended up being the better training options. Like the fall of my junior year, my coach said, like, we're going to take out your long run and take out a tempo run. And so I was just doing like 1 run workout a week, and I improved a lot. So I can't complain.
Okay. So yeah, quite an unconventional few formative years for you, would you say, in terms of training?
Yes, I guess so. It was just with the demands I had. I had so much schoolwork and so much stuff outside of training that I didn't have as much energy for training. So it just we were working within the constraints that we had.
Yeah. It obviously worked though. I mean,
Well, like Bermuda 2018, probably it didn't work.
right.
So there were some very good races, but there were also some very not good races. So I felt like I got a huge variety over those few years, but at the end of the day, I'm hoping it's just a ton of experience. I learned a lot, and hopefully it'll just help me in the future.
So, did you say 2 months ago you moved to Colorado?
Yes.
And how long had that been the plan for? Like, when did that sort of slot in, and you and Ian had those conversations and he was like, come and join us? Should it have been earlier last year were it not for the pandemic, or?
Well, I only started working with Ian end of October this year. So it was all fairly recent. Mm-hmm. But I had been to Boulder before, and so just like for summers, and I really liked the area. So I was excited to have a group in the United States with the home base that wasn't traveling so much.
Yeah, but also that has an interesting, like you said, like an interesting mix of people and nationalities, and presumably therefore personalities as well, right? Who are some of the people you're alongside now on the track and roads?
So the three other Americans on the national team are Kirsten Casper, Matt McElroy, and Eli Hemming. Mm-hmm. And then Sandra Dode, Ron Segev, Edda from Iceland.
Oh, yeah.
And then we have a few 70.3 athletes in the group too, which I'm really enjoying. So one is Jeannie Metzler from South Africa, and she has never done the ITU racing. And so she comes with like so much endurance that's something that had always been my strength. Like whenever I was training with any other people, like I knew, okay, I might not be able to outsprint them, but I can outlast them. Mm-hmm. And this is not. I'm training with someone who has very big strengths.
Oh yeah. So it's the idea there that everyone brings like, you know, the best parts of that racing to the table then, and you know, so if you're riding with them, then that inevitably you have to kind of reach that level as well. Does it work like that?
Yes, I think like that's the idea. I think it's nothing new about squads or like groups of training. But also our training is quite individualized. And so we all showed up for a ride on Sunday and everyone had a little bit different intervals. And so like learning to make that work and like, okay, who wants to go with whom and how can we make that work? So that's also like really helpful, because if I was just trying to like overreach and just stay with certain people in certain disciplines, that might not be healthy because I might be overtraining a bit. Maybe not with the extra energy, but I might be overtraining a bit. So it's a healthy balance, and how can you do what you need to do without doing more, but also get through what you need to do, which get through isn't the right term, but do what you need to do to the best of your ability, but nothing more.
Gotcha. And obviously you presumably knew Kirsten very well before, and Eli and Matt, so it's been...
Well, I didn't, because I'd only really for the United States, I'd seen them at races, but they're at races like I'd roomed with Kirsten before, but there's always a lot going on and you're a little guarded. So like in a training environment when races are, I think Yokohama's a little over 6 weeks away, it's just a little different and you get to see people every day. It's fun.
Yeah. I mean, is it a situation that, you know, I might imagine Boulder, Colorado is obviously full of elite sports people. So are you kind of almost living with each other as well? Or is it not really like that? It's not like blocks of apartments, I don't know, like university living or anything like that?
No, Ian, like I asked him going into it and he said he'd prefer that if we didn't live together, just so then we can turn off. We can have we can be done for the day and just move on. And that's possible when you're living with other triathletes or the people that you're training with, but it's just a little easier. The group also has a lot of people who are either engaged or married. So I feel like I'm the young person joining the group. So I'm very much at a different stage of life.
Okay. Nice, yeah. So how do you switch off after training and so on? Like, what's your kind of, or is that the problem? You don't?
Well, I'm learning how to. it's a range of things. And that was the thing. I'm really comfortable like reading something like journal articles or like nonfiction. I really enjoy that. So the books that I'm reading, I might not recommend to other people. I'm still learning how to sit with a good fiction book and like enjoy it. So I've been told it takes about a year. So I'm working on that. And then I'll watch TV. The nice thing is that some of my friends are still in school, or like they finish and Zoom is still very appropriate. So, or FaceTime. And so I feel like I can keep in touch with a lot more people thanks to the pandemic. Not really thanks though. So
yeah, gotcha. So, sorry, did you say you are embarking on your first fiction book at the moment? Did you say?
Not my first fiction book. I've gotten through them, but it's not like fun. I have to kind of force myself to focus. Apparently it uses a different part of your mind than if you're reading nonfiction. So I haven't really used that part of my mind in 4+ years. So I'm rewiring it.
Yeah. Well, make sure it's a good one then. If it's the first one in 4+ years, you don't want one that you're like on the fence about.
No, I've read some already, but it takes a while.
Music, does that like play a part in your sort of routine or not so much?
Music. Well, when I train, we've been riding a lot on the trainer, and I enjoy having music, but I think I listened to more music when I was in school because I would actually study with music. You're probably not supposed to do that, but I did. Yeah. So it worked, but now I feel like I don't have like earbuds in the whole day. I'm very much, if someone tried to text me or call me, they might not get a response for a few hours. So I feel like I don't know where my phone is half the day.
Gotcha. Yeah, no, it was just, so earlier on in the podcast, we spoke to Justus Nieschlag and played him the sort of intro music options for the German mixed relay team. Obviously, this was a bit of a thing that should have started last year where, there's certain sort of music for each team, like just a snippet of a song that represents that country. So I just thought, it could be a good little exercise to play you what was planned for the USA team, or what will be played for the USA team, and also maybe a couple of others that you could try and guess the country. Are you up for that?
Maybe. I will probably not be the best at this.
All right. Well, I mean, to be honest, it's a bit of the USA one has been chosen. This isn't in any doubt. So it's but good to get your reaction. All right. So let's just try that here. So you're lining up. Mixed relay world champs, Hamburg. You're with your boys. Here you go. I mean, good, right? That's gonna get.
Is that Beyonce and Jay-Z? Crazy in Love?
I think that. No, you don't look convinced, actually.
Well, I don't know. I feel like it would be the other three teammates who would have a preference. That might be, I want to say, didn't that song come out in like, that's not an older song, but like relatively for me,
yeah,
it's probably older. So
yeah,
but so I might not be the best judge of that.
True. Again, yes, they might not have asked the right person to pick these songs, given that there might be about 20 years age difference here. But yeah.
Well, and you'll also educate some of the younger athletes. That's the important part.
I just, it's just as long as it puts the hairs on the back of your neck or whatever, then that's half the battle, isn't it? Surely.
I think our high performance director would like that song. Okay. So that's all that counts.
And listening through these tinny speakers, you're not going to get the same impact as like a full PA going down a blue carpet. All right. Now this is going to test you a little bit probably, but see if you can guess the country. And, this isn't perhaps fair, but I'm going to do it anyway. Ready? Bear with it a moment, because I know that just sounds a bit noisy, but
I have no idea.
No. Hazard a guess? No.
Well, I don't want to offend anyone.
How could you offend anyone? It's a great song, I think. It's got a certain
Well, I feel like there are some countries that it wouldn't be because they maybe don't have a mixed relay. So like my options are limited, but I'm not sure.
Yeah. Well, that's Poland. That will be the Polish.
Oh, I would not have guessed that.
Okay, I'm gonna do one more just because. So see if you get this one. Okay, this may be more. No, tricky one actually. Picture yourself, I don't know, somewhere in Europe, maybe on a.
Is it Italy? Because I thought you were going to say picture yourself on a boat, but
Well, I was, but that might have been misleading as well. Just a guess? Not. I'm gonna guess.
is it Spain?
No, it's a bit relaxed. If you think it's Belgium, it's Belgium's.
Oh, interesting.
Yeah, have to run that one by Claire and the. Yeah, I'm not actually listening to that back. I'm not sure they're going to be too impressed with that. Doesn't sound like it's going to get the heart pumping.
Well, if you're the third leg, you might appreciate it not rising that much for another 40 minutes.
Oh, that's true. Yeah, you have to think about all the
all the legs.
Yes, quite. What would you prefer to be one or three in your, ideally? What were you in Lausanne?
Third.
Third.
I enjoy that because the race is broken up a little bit, and then you can just like ride. You're not coming out of the water with a ton of people necessarily.
Yeah.
But what I think would be neat for the mixed relay is if there was just no order, so it's just 2 men, 2 women, wherever you please.
Ooh.
And then that would be more strategic. Like it would just kind of be fun to see what people choose. But that's probably not going to happen because it's probably not allowed. But there's ever a race.
Yeah, I can sort of feel the technical commission kind of bristling at that idea as there's men and women side by side. But I think that tactical thing could be quite exciting.
Well, I think it would end up being men first and last for the swim especially, and to get position, and then the women would be in the middle. But it would be fun to have just the men first and third and the women second and fourth in some race. But if it means that the relay is more popular, the order is fine the way it is.
And Lausanne was obviously that was bronze, right, in the under 23 and junior mixed relay. I mean, that was a strong. Who was it? You, Tamara, Seth Ryder, and I've got it written here.
Dar Smith.
Yeah. So
yes, it was a really strong team, but we were up against really strong teams. I mean, New Zealand and Great Britain, they were incredible.
But given the sort of depth of setup, as it is already and has been for a few years, then to know that that's coming through must be exciting as well. That you guys are going to be the next generation lining up for USA.
Yes, hopefully, but you never know who's coming up. That's always the thing in the United States. And the other aspect is the fact that a lot of people from other countries, from New Zealand, for example, they're getting so many experiences to race. So on one hand, yes, the United States has depth, but I raced the relay twice last year, once in Edmonton and once in Lausanne. But the New Zealanders, they got to race every single time, and same with some other countries. And so just gaining that experience, that's kind of, I feel like I'm going to miss out on that a little bit, but it's probably in some respects and not in others.
Yeah. And in Gold Coast, that was where you won the under 23, right?
Yes.
But you didn't race the mixed relay. Was that because of the exertions of winning the under 23, or?
No, that was because I was on a plane going back to school. I had already missed 5 days, so I couldn't, the relay was on Sunday and I had to fly back all of Sunday. So in order to get to Monday classes, if I'd missed my Monday classes, I could have raced the relay, but that wasn't, my professors were gracious enough to let me miss 5 days. So that was a limitation.
Wow. I mean, that puts that gold into even more perspective then. I mean, that's incredible.
Yeah, I remember I finished the race, and I got through everything, but in the afternoon I had to finish an essay. And then on the way home, I was doing schoolwork the entire flight from like all 3 flights back. But the flight from Brisbane to LA, the person next to me had slept, and he's like, "Wait, were you working that whole time?" I'm like, "Yeah, sorry."
And then on the Monday, did you just sort of slot into the lecture as per normal, kind of, yeah, world champion actually now, but we won't talk about that. That's fine.
Oh no, not at all. Yeah, well, there was no comment.
No fanfare, no nothing.
No, I don't enjoy that much.
Okay, fair enough. So yeah, just sort of go. You and Tamara, obviously, your first junior national title was when Tamara had won the year before, right? And then actually in 2015, you absolutely smashed that course, and then she also was obviously one of the few to have ever won a junior and under 23 world title. So, but then you were saying, you don't necessarily, you don't know Kirsten that well, just by virtue of, traveling to races and so on. So it's interesting that you've kind of leapfrogged each other in a way, you and Tamara being very similar age. Well, she's a little older, but was there a sort of little kind of sense of rivalry as you're going through and basically absolutely smashing it at junior and under 23 level?
Well, so I started racing there's a United States like junior and youth elite circuit with draft legal racing. There's actually a mixed team relay. So I did my first mixed team relay in 2014 or 2013. Right. Yeah, 2013 at these like junior championships. They're like 50 teams. It's actually it's a big thing.
How many teams? 50.
Yeah.
Wow.
It's huge. And it's awesome. It's a pain for the coaches because it's the day after the race and there are always substitutes.
Right.
But it's really fun. And so Tamara had actually, in 2012, she won a medal at the Auckland World Championships. And that was the first time a U.S. female had medaled at the Junior World Championships. And then the next year I was this like youth, so I wasn't even racing her. I just watched her and then first of all, she dominated all the races I watched her race, and it's just so fun to watch. And then she won in London. She won her junior world title. And so then when I'm a junior, it's my first year as a junior. It was you were racing your idol a little bit. And so, but also it gave me a little bit more confidence when I saw, oh, I can swim with her, I can bike with her. So then when I went to Junior Worlds for the first time in Edmonton, I was nervous. I was very scared. I was a 16-year-old on the start line, and I think there were like 2 other 16-year-olds. But it wasn't as scary, even though she couldn't race that year, because just kind of knowing, okay, I could swim with Tamara, I could bike with Tamara. So she definitely raised the bar, and I don't think it's a rivalry, more as showing each other what's possible.
So the top 4 in Edmonton, I've just pulled it up here, but Flora Duffy, Taylor Knibb, Katie Zafiris, Summer Rappaport. I mean, that's quite a top 4. Yes,
well, there's one that doesn't quite belong. Number 2. Maybe yet. But my first World Triathlon Series race was in 2016 in Stockholm. Mm-hmm. And that was 6 or 8 weeks out from Rio. So my coach had said, I want you to do this race because for Junior Worlds, I don't want that to be the scariest start line you're on of the year. That was our primary goal of the year in 2016. I wanted to do very well at that race. And so he said, I want you to be kind of scared on the start line and just get demolished in the race. That was the whole aim. Kind of just put you in your place. But then when you're in Cozumel, hopefully, if you're looking at, because Flora Duffy won in Stockholm 2016. And so it was I think it was Flora Duffy and Andrew Hewitt and Helen Jenkins on the podium. Mm-hmm. When you're on the start line with those kind of women, then when I went to Cozumel, I was okay, this might be a little bit more manageable mentally. But I got some criticism for racing that race as an 18-year-old, but it was for a specific purpose. I didn't think it would go well. It was just to get kind of put in my place.
Right. So was Edmonton 2017 an example of your kind of unconventional training all coming together then? Is that were there specific things that you were doing in the lead up to that actually sort of meant you were a bit more confident and maybe or did you have no idea that that performance was coming out?
No, not at all. I think that's kind of what helps because I wasn't really prepared. I was just racing, and Flora attacked on the first hill, and I just went, and that was pretty much the race. Then she attacked on the last hill, like the last loop, and I just like I remember like I was just like climbing. Then I saw the gap, and I'm like, okay, I'm not catching up to that gap again. But it was very lucky. I don't think I fully realized what it was until probably much later. But it was just, I think that's what helped. I kind of didn't know what everything meant. I was just gonna race, and that's what it was.
And to be, yeah, tucked in behind. I mean, is Flora one of the kind of people that you would model yourself on? Do you see her as like, the sort of?
I really respect her racing style. I had started trying to break off on the front back in 2014, but she really made it popular in 2016. And like I respect her racing. She's going to do everything to win. But the one thing is that we didn't actually. So I was scared. I wasn't going to talk, but we didn't talk. Like we were the only two people in that, like not a group, but it was two people. We didn't say a word to each other. That freaks me out a little bit. I'm a talker. So
you didn't feel like you wanted to take the first, you didn't want to sort of broach anything or be the.
It's Flora. Yeah. Like I'm in awe. So no, I was waiting for her to say something, but she didn't. So maybe I don't think she was waiting for me to say anything, but that's just the way she is.
So you're actually having these thoughts while you're racing of a kind of like, should I say something? Could I?
Well, there's normally some talking on the bike. Maybe there's just more talking in the groups I'm in. But there is some sort of talking and communication, but not one word, nothing. So.
Wow. Well, you see, maybe you were conserving your energy, and that helped you on that final climb, and that secured the silver.
Yeah. Well, I kind of knew I was in trouble because we had been trading off like in similar locations, and then she took a short pull, and I was too naive to realize, okay, she's taking a short pull, she's going to attack me. But now I know, but that's not really helpful.
So there is a lot of that, just needing those race experiences in order to have that nous and that little advantage, right? Is that how you see kind of the next couple of years going, and just keeping building those experiences as much as possible and learning all the way?
Yeah, I think I feel like I've built up a fair amount of experience. We'll learn in the next few years if it was enough. And because I feel like my biggest issue, I think, is more learning from those experiences. And so I need to, like, I'm working on improving in many areas, and I kind of, instead of making the same mistakes over and over and over again for areas that I might not have, like, I want to improve and then test myself again, kind of thing, versus just, okay, I came up short on that area again. But yeah, we'll see how it plays out in the long run. But I think the experience, especially at that kind of racing, really makes a difference.
Yeah. And that toughness, I was thinking also like Andrea Hewitt's, Santo Domingo, obviously that World Cup at the end of the 2019 season. And that must have been heartbreaking to have to stop in that penalty box so close to the blue carpet and sort of see her go past. But then your post-race interview was very kind of magnanimous, and like, if it was to be anyone and Andrea, and she's obviously an incredibly sort of tough competitor. So is that a toughness that, that you would hope to bring to your racing as well? Is that an essential part of the armory of success?
Oh, definitely. She's an awesome person. I have the utmost respect for her. And again, like, if I could lose to anyone, she's not a bad person to lose to.
What was the penalty for in Santo Domingo for that? Like,
I missed my swim cap with the bin. So I've had a good 16 months to be reminded of not being able to hit the bin with my swim cap. My goggles made it in, but not my swim cap. So that was. It is what it is. The run had been shortened, so I was a bit bummed because it should have been a 10K run, but it was only 5K. But I had a 15-second penalty, not a 10-second penalty. But you can't change the past, and we're moving on.
Right. Did you sort of have half an inkling that the cap wasn't there, but you'd already kind of peeled away and were running, or was that kind of done and dusted?
Oh no, I didn't know that it was for my cap. I actually had thought, I thought it had been for going over the center line, because there was one part where I had like gone around someone and it was a U-turn section and I'd gone around them. But it was, I thought it was for something else and for something much worse.
So since then, like, what kind of race experience have you been able to have? You know?
Yeah, so Santo Domingo came in the block of 4 races in 4 weekends. So the weekend before, I had raced a cross-country race, and then the weekend after, the 2 weekends after, I had other cross-country races. So I got from Santo Domingo, where it was very hot and humid, and then the next weekend, I think I was racing in, it was like 20 degrees Fahrenheit, so it's probably like, I want to say like -5 Celsius, and like wind chill, wind, all that. The next weekend, so like it was actually that Friday, and the race is Sunday, so within 5 days I was racing again in the exact opposite climate. But so I had gotten a little block in, and then I actually, in the beginning of 2020, I joined the swim team. So in January and February, I was able to race some swim races. So after in January, it was after like 3 years and 11 months, I think, I dove off the blocks for the first time, like in a swim race. That was very intimidating, but it was a good experience, and I'm grateful for it, like going into then the lack of racing. But I haven't raced now since the end of February 2020. So it's been over a year.
So ahead of Yokohama, are you going to be able to, are there any other opportunities before then?
No, Osaka World Cup, I think, was just canceled. So I won't race before, hopefully we get to race in Yokohama. And I'm excited for that.
I suppose it's just a case of being ready when you have to be, is it? And
yes, and we'll see how it goes. My words mean nothing now. You'll have to talk on May 16th and see how that went.
and what is the sort of atmosphere like among the training camp there? And are there any people that are, you know, slightly dreading the return to racing in terms of, you know, just feeling a bit too rusty? Or
well, so some of the training group went down to Florida,
and
they were able to do 2 races recently. But USAT had set, like, they had sent us a note probably 10 days out saying that it would count for discretionary, those 2 races. But so we just kind of, my coach and I looked at it, and it was like, what would I have to do for it to be worth it? And it didn't seem like there was anything I could really do to help me. And the trip would probably, we were thinking, would have could have a negative effect going into Yokohama. So just the focus is Yokohama, and we'll see how it goes.
Yeah.
And that will be, May 16th will be the tell-all after the race, because the race is May 16th.
And is Yokohama still one of the big ones as far as US team selection for Tokyo? Like, could you book your ticket in Yokohama?
Yes, and that would be, so for the women, you have to be on the podium and the top American who's not already qualified. Yeah. So if Summer wins, then the next person, if she's on the podium, they would be good. But otherwise, the men, it's a little different, because I think it's like top 8. It's the US criteria is very complicated. Yeah. But for the women, if you're top 3, top American, you get an automatic slot.
Okay. So, yeah, I suppose, and given that nobody really knows where anybody's going to be at on that start line, it could be quite an interesting situation.
But I think that there's actually kind of there's something almost not calming about that, but like, it's just so out of your control, and like no one knowing where anyone is kind of nice, because you have no expectations, and it's just kind of, it's like a big reset. That's what I'd like to think of it as. Yeah.
And yes, nice to be able to put yourself in the hands of someone who's, obviously like absolute experience you can trust, and just you say jump, I say how high.
Well, if he says jump, I say why, and then we move on. Not always, but if if I'm gonna jump for any reason, I need to know kind of why, the reasoning behind it.
Gotcha. Well, in that case, yeah, the very best of luck for the next 6 weeks, and hope it all goes to plan. And yeah, Yokohama's going to be exciting.
Thank you, and I hope I'll see you in person sometime soon.
Yeah, definitely. Hopefully there. Exactly. All right. Great. Thanks, Taylor. Brilliant.
Thank you.